Hello, everyone. Yeah, it's me again. If you're wearing glasses, could you do me a solid and take them off for a second? Thanks. Welcome back to Where Are We Now? The only digital exploration series that smells like freshly laundered bed sheets. Try it. Smell the screen. Do it. For this episode, I thought it would be fun to look at some more maps in Garry's mod, but not just any old maps. No. In this episode, we're exploring Gmod's most massive megastructures. You might expect there to be some nuance with that term, but there really isn't. A megastructure is just a single structure that happens to be really, really big. You know, your Burj Khalifas, your Great Walls of China, that sort of thing. Those are the ones that are real, though. There's been all sorts of conceptual megastructures that are purely theoretical because to actually build them would require energy and resources the likes of which humanity has not discovered yet. Like the humble Dyson sphere, for example. Just a shell completely encasing a star to harness 100% of its energy output. Not a big deal. That's the beauty of fiction, though. The restrictions of the real world just don't apply. You can have a bubble world in a video game if you want to. In the manga Blame, the entire planet has been transformed into a vast artificial structure made of mostly concrete, which even assimilates the moon at some point, too. There's also the Halo Ring, Spaceball 1, half of all the stuff in the Warhammer universe. You get the concept. We've actually looked at a few megastructures in this series before, but I've never focused on them, so I'm excited for this. There's something about bigness that never fails to spark the imagination. Before we begin, a lightning-fast shout-out to my amazing patrons. If you like getting these videos for free, maybe you should thank them in the comments yourselves, too, since they're the ones who fund these videos when YouTube doesn't. Alright, let's go look at some big stuff. Ready? Hell yeah, you are. The first megastructure on the mega itinerary today is GM Iterator by Gray the Raptor, a fan-favorite creator on this series. This map takes place in the Rain World universe. If you don't know, Rain World is a platforming survival game where you play as this cute little slug cat critter. You forage for food so that you can shelter and hibernate through these rainstorms that are so intense that they'll just straight up kill you if you're caught outside. The strongest aspect of the game to me is that you get to explore the rusted remnants of a once prosperous civilization. I played Rain World a little bit. It falls under the umbrella of really cool games that I happen to be very bad at, so I put it down after just an hour or so. That, and I don't love having to watch the slug cat get violently shaken around every time you get caught by one of the enemies. I don't know, maybe I'll try it again sometime. But for all the Rain World aficionados watching, just know that I'm definitely going to misinterpret and mislabel things as we look around. So feel free to explain them to me in the comments. The ground you're seeing all around me here isn't actually the ground at all. We're standing on top of the megastructure that is the Iterator. If you go out to the edge, you can see a bunch of other ones off in the distance, too. They are huge. From what I understand of the game world, the Iterators are massive sentient machines. I'm not sure what purpose they serve, I didn't get that far in the game. A lot of them have cities on the top that are long abandoned by the time you discover them. The one that we're on right now seems to just have the platform from Flatgrass and the building from Construct. Maybe the previous civilization got wiped out before they could finish the construction. Jeez. Don't look down. Man, there's a whole city down there, and it's completely dwarfed by the megastructures dotting the landscape. So you would definitely be able to see these things from space, right? At least from low orbit. Down in this channel here, there's a couple of pieces of graffiti that look pretty fresh for this place being abandoned. This one is interesting. These beings, they don't look human, but they certainly don't look too alien either. Looking at the surrounding architecture, I think it's safe to say that the previous inhabitants of this place were human adjacent. This image is quite violent also. It's almost as if it was painted to say, "You're next." Alright, let's crack on into this thing. Whew. Big drop there. Yeah, there's actually a lot of intriguing art on the walls once you get inside. On the way down this shaft, each level has a distinct mural associated with it. It could be telling a story of some sort, or maybe these could be tombs dedicated to each of the characters painted on the outside. I think whichever species lived here before must have been a mechanical one. Looking at these murals, I'm seeing cogs, wires, lights. Organic carbon-based life forms usually don't have those, unless of course they became cyborgs. But at that point, are they organic anymore? We're kinda like cyborgs in real life, aren't we? I mean, for most of us, our phones are on us 24/7. And unless you're living in one of those uncontacted tribes in the jungle, technology most likely plays a pretty significant role in your life every day. I still feel pretty organic though, so I don't know where the line is there. I found this big empty grid room with some badly formatted music playing from nowhere. Actually, no. I take that back. Saying it's badly formatted is ignorant of me. Maybe this is just what this civilization's music sounds like. Yeah, I can see that. Hey, an orb! Great news for me. I mistook my own orb for a bowling ball and shattered it last weekend, so now I don't even have to order a new one. Ah, wait. No, this is something else entirely. I guess I'll hold on to it, though. It's probably important. There's a lot of characters floating around on these projected screens. This is what I imagine the inside of my computer looks like when I update drivers, but deep down, I know that their reality is a lot less interesting. Whoa. Gravity is almost zero in here somehow. Okay, good to know. Wait, this is the outside of the empty tile room? It looks like a processing core or something. Oh, are they transmitting data through sound waves like some sort of acoustic supercomputer? If that's the case, I probably really messed up the system memory when I was prancing around in there. Whoops. The only way to go is down, so here I go, I guess. What in the HR Giger hell is going on in this chamber? Man, they absolutely nailed the living machine aesthetic here. This is somehow exactly what I expected the inside of the Iterator to look like, while also being entirely subversive. What do the tendrils do? Maybe they're here for security and they just don't deem me a threat. Or hey, it looks like those might be brooms on the end. They might just be here for keeping the place neat and tidy. I could use a couple of those for my apartment if that's the case. There are actually several of these chambers in this part of the megastructure. I counted 4, I think? I'm not sure. There could be more. This place is so sprawling. Hey, I found another orb. This one is pink. Actually, the workshop page for this map says that they're called pearls. It also says that I can read them in the central tiled chamber, so I guess that's where I'm taking it. Whoa, hold up. What's that thing? Is it a battery? It sure looks dangerous. I'm gonna avoid touching it. That thing's humming like crazy. Someone should get the phone also. Could be about your car's extended warranty. This place reminds me a lot of the later areas of the game Inside. Anyone else play that back in the day? You go deeper and deeper into this gloomy facility, encountering horrors and physics puzzles along the way until finally you... Well, I won't spoil it for you if you don't know the ending twist yet, but some weird shit happens. Okay, back at the tiled room. What did I miss? Oh, there's symbols down here. I see. It activates some sort of interface. Ah, neat. This looks to be a conversation between 2 of these colossal iterators. I guess they can talk to each other? I mean, of course they can talk to each other. Machines and computers do that constantly. But I didn't expect their messages to be in readable English. The iterator named Nebula Without Place is telling another one named One Lit Flame that it's planning on running a devious experiment on a scavenger that they've been observing. Are they talking about me? I haven't really scavenged anything other than vibes, though. And those grow back if you know what you're doing. The white pearl that spawned in this room confirms that, like I thought, construction of the city on top of this iterator was indeed halted prematurely. I thought it was unfinished because of hard times, though. As it turns out, it was just bureaucracy and red tape to shut it down. Somehow that seems worse to me. We also get the name of the iterator this map takes place at. Gracious Mountains. Actually, it's spelled Gracious Mountians, but I think they meant mountains. So that's cool. A little bit of lore to satiate my story stomach. Nice. Let's keep going. There's probably a lot more pearls to find. Damn, that is a strong bug zapper. I bet you could waltz through the deepest South American jungles with this thing strapped to your back and you'd come out just fine. Well, maybe not fine. You might have severe radiation burns, but hey, you won't have any mosquito bites. And it looks like there's a lot more of them in this big empty chamber. They're loud too. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. If there's an insect to go to war with, it's definitely mosquitoes. I'd be okay with that. They are absolute pests. If they just wanted to take a tiny amount of my blood to live another day, I might be okay with that. But then they have to go and inject you with their saliva and make the bite all itchy. Why? Because they're punks, that's why. I'm from Gracious Mountains and I say zap 'em all. It's another one of those tendril thingies. I haven't been abducted by aliens before, but I can imagine it's something sorta like this. Just a bunch of strange machinery ticking and chiming away with an urgent but unknown purpose. I really do feel like an interloper. Very few games are able to nail this sensation of being immersed in a completely foreign world. The final levels of Half-Life are a good example, and Black Mesas are even better. This is probably how a 15th century squire would feel if you brought them back to modern times and you brought them to, like, an IKEA. Much like the sales floor of an IKEA, the chambers of this iterator seem to stretch on forever. I don't think the video is doing it justice. The low gravity makes it a little easier to explore without breaking your legs, but it is an absolute bitch to wriggle your way into the vents. Sometimes I'll smack my head on the lip and get sent all the way back down in slow motion, and other times I'll just glide right by it, waiting impatiently to float back down. Why does it feel extra humiliating to be pissed off in low gravity? I think it's because I can't stamp my feet like I usually do when I'm mad. Hey, what do you know? Gravity's back. All I had to do was complain about it loud enough and it's like the map heard me. There's an orb too, but that can wait. I want to look around a bit before I go back inside. So this is the underbelly of Gracious Mountains. It's wicked dark down here. I guess I should have expected that. What's all this orange stuff? Is this some kind of glue or caulk? And yeah, sorry for the flashing green light down here. It's mysterious, but it still hurts my eyes, so I'm gonna try to dim it a bit in post. I feel like Luke Skywalker at the end of Empire right now. Maybe if I dangle from this part pathetically for a while, the Millennium Falcon will come up and rescue me, and I'll get a new hand. Wow. What a view. Now that I'm finally below the clouds, I can see the surrounding countryside much more clearly. There's a giant wall surrounding the city at the base of the iterator we're in, and it looks like the other ones in the distance have their own perimeter walls as well. I wonder why they had to build walls. I guess I'd have to play more Rain World to find out. You can scale up the side of the iterator here using the many beams and pipes as platforms. Funnily enough, it's actually much easier than ascending up through the inside of it thanks to the lack of annoying vents. Alright, let's head back down and cash in that pearl, shall we? And I actually found a second one down here in the underbelly while I was looking around, so I've got two to carry back. This one is an obituary for an iterator named 4 Copper Tablets. That's probably the one that can be seen collapsed in the far distance. Brother, coworker, and renowned musical creator. Interesting. These machines are so human. From a narrative perspective, are the iterators supposed to be like a sort of maximalist representation of ourselves? I'm gonna head back and grab that other pearl. I'm loving these little tidbits of culture. As nice as they are, though, it's sort of an absolute pain in the dickhole sometimes to get these pearls out of their hiding spots and back to the tiled chamber to read them. Like here, for example. I was carrying the pearl back up the megastructure, and I started panicking because I dropped it trying to climb a beam and thought it was gone forever. Fortunately, it just teleported to the tiled room when I reached the bottom of the map, but not before giving me a small heart attack. This pearl is another conversation between other iterators. Apparently, they communicate entirely by bouncing signals around the big towers that can be seen dotting the landscape outside. Only there's a problem. This iterator seems to think that the towers are going to break long before the iterators all die out, which would plunge them into a lonely eternity of solitude unless they can come up with some sort of massager? What good would a massager be? They're machines, they don't even have muscles. Oh, I think it's supposed to say messenger. That makes more sense. But wait, they've got these bright strobing lights at the bottoms of each of them. Couldn't they just communicate through Morse code that way? What do I know? I'm just a human skeleton. For all I know, the information they trade using the towers is so immense that using Morse code just wouldn't work. Well, it's a good thing that's not my problem. I'm just here to look around. An impartial observer. And what I have observed is another absolute banger of a map by Gray the Raptor. There are chambers upon chambers upon chambers in this megastructure. I saw a lot of it, but definitely not the entire thing. I think there's 8 pearls? I found about half of them. I'm sure someone with a little more time and a lot more patience than I have could find them all. I also have to praise the visual style of the map too. It's not easy to translate a 2D game's art style into a 3D one. I mean, we've all seen what happened to Castlevania. In spite of that, I think this is a spirited, respectable effort. It certainly maintains the level of intrigue that Rainworld has with its environments. It probably would enrich my experience if I knew more about Rainworld, but still. Even as someone who's barely scratched the surface of that game, I found it utterly fascinating. Okay, on to the next big thing. The next Titanic map on my list today is Brutalist Desolation by Mr. Milo. And for the first time in a while, we're back in the Half-Life universe. The workshop description mentions that this place is the hollow remains of a top-secret Soviet project that was later repurposed by the Combine as a strategic position after they crushed humanity in the 7-Hour War. However, not long after the Combine began construction efforts here, the project was abandoned. So what could have caused the Combine to back out? I mean, they're the most powerful alien empire ever as far as we know. If they couldn't handle it, it must be something real bad, right? Like cockroaches, maybe. Wow. Yeah, that structure's pretty mega, alright. It's also a shitload of concrete. A dwarf with tremor sense could do some good work here, I think. I really dig the lighting here. It's very moody. It reminds me of the movie Gattaca with Ethan Hawke. Hey, what do you know? Pepsi! Now, in Half-Life 2, the only vending machines you can find are Dr. Breen's private reserve, which is just water drugged to brainwash you. But I like the idea that the Combine tried Pepsi after conquering Earth and just said, "Oh, lovely beverage that is. This Pepsi liquid gets to stay." And so here it is. And yeah, I don't know why I gave them that voice. I guess I just equate it with, like, colonialism or something. Boy, yeah, I'm scratching my head here trying to figure out just what the hell this place was originally. The center of it seems to be a massive concrete chamber just open to the sky. If it's the USSR and it's classified, then I can say with some certainty that it was for some kind of weapon. Most likely there was a retractable shield over this at one point, but still, why would you set the concrete like this? I don't think it's for simple missile silos. Huh. Maybe they were trying to build giant bipedal weapons, sort of like the ones from the Origins map in Black Ops 2. Really though, they should be building something closer to Metal Gear Rex. The giant humanoid robots are cool and all, but I feel like they would have a lot of drawbacks. The original Metal Gear design has a low center of gravity, a smaller profile, and lots of armaments. The biggest advantage I can think of that a massive humanoid mech would have is a good overview of the surrounding area. But something that big is going to be backed up by significant logistics and support teams anyways, so you might as well just use UAVs and LiDAR for that. I'm sure there are some people in the Gundam fandom that could absolutely tear into me right now and write a well-researched essay on why I'm a feckless twit who's wrong about everything, but those are my thoughts on the matter. Ah, there's a second massive chamber over here. This one's filled with water though. Maybe the Combine repurposed it as a staging area to package that sweet, sweet clear before it gets shipped off-world. I guess it would also make for a pretty sweet swimming pool. Amazingly, the map dev has actually thought to add drains into the bottom of the basin here. I bet they never expected anyone to point that out. If you go into the bottom of the big pit and follow this tunnel all the way down, you come out into a roadway of sorts. There are tunnels going through the concrete, and this road very much looks like a part of the structure itself. So whatever this place is for, it's so big that they required a road network. Now that's not unheard of by any means, but to me it does say that this place takes up at least a mile. There's some sort of maintenance garage here too. It looks like the Combine stripped this place clean. There's not much left to look at. At least they left the lights on for us. Oh, hold on a second, that's blood. A lot of it. Well, speak of the devil. There's a dead Combine soldier here. Looking at the amount of blood around here, I would expect a missing limb or two. But I understand the limitations that the map creator was working with. Is this a piece of the puzzle as to why the Combine abandoned their construction at this place? I feel like they wouldn't call it quits if a few soldiers got killed. Hell, if I know the Combine, they would be content with solving a lot of problems by just throwing countless soldiers at them. The Combine soldiers are just augmented humans after all, and to them, humans are a resource. I don't see any bullet holes or other signs of a struggle. He must have been snuck up on. Could it be an antlion infestation? They have been known to burrow. I feel like I would have seen one by now, though. There's a tree here. It looks important, like it's the subject of intense study or something. It can't be that important, though, otherwise they would have put it in a better spot. Entombed like this, it's gonna get, what, 2, maybe 3 hours of sunlight a day? Come on, guys. No wonder it's dead. You could put it in here. With those bay doors left open, you might be able to increase that to 5 or 6 hours of sunlight a day, depending on the season. I think Mr. Milo was onto something putting it where it is, though. Trees are symbols of nature, and to have a dead one completely surrounded on all sides by cold, hard concrete is a firm statement that sums up the Combine pretty well, I think. I mean, we're talking about an alien civilization that enslaved humanity in a matter of hours, put up an anti-baby-making field, and drained a very noticeable volume of the ocean in just the decade or two they've been on Earth. They could not give a shit about the trees. So yeah, I find this imagery very poignant. And that's pretty much everything of interest on this map. I still don't know quite what went on here. The Soviets built it, the Combine took over it, and then they abandoned their efforts to build here. But why? The only clue we've got is that dead soldier, and he's not giving us much information lying there like that. In M. Night Shyamalan's movie The Happening, the world is in crisis because plants of all things are releasing a deadly toxin that makes people want to die. I'm not sure if the movie confirms this since it's kind of terrible, so I only watched it one time, but it always felt like revenge to me. Revenge for how people try to control the nature around them. Maybe that isn't too dissimilar to what went on here. Well, whatever the story is, the map is really well made. Even though it's just a bunch of concrete and pipes when you first look at it, a lot of the scenery compositions are really interesting, and paired with the hazy orange sunset glow, it makes for an extremely desolate mood. Hence the name Brutalist Desolation, I guess. Mr. Milo mentions in the workshop description that they were heavily inspired by Polish surrealist artist, Beksinski. I'm not even gonna try that first name. He made this painting. You've probably seen it before. And that inspiration really shows, so well done on that. Okay. I think I've had enough concrete for now. For the final megastructure of the video, we're gonna have to kick it into hyperdrive. Yeah. Fuck yeah. That's the shit. Sorry for talking over the map intro, I'm just really excited for this one. For this map, we're in the Star Wars universe. That's right. It's the Deathstar by Jacob. There are lots of Deathstar maps on the workshop nowadays, but this one looks really good, so it's the one we're checking out today. The Deathstar is the size of a small moon, so it definitely fits under the megastructure label. But I have to come clean here. I planned on featuring this map for a Star Wars Where Are We Now special, but I decided not to do that episode after I saw how poorly my Jedi Academy video did. So you can think of this as my roundabout way of getting what I want in spite of that, more than a year later. So here we are in the Deathstar, or rather outside of it. There's gotta be an artificial gravity field around this thing, or I'd be floating away right now. Holy Sith, the turrets actually work, look at that. This map already makes me very happy. I should head in, I'm getting star paralysis from looking at the universe. You gotta love that ambient space station hum. I know it's ironic given the name of this place, but I feel like I would sleep really well aboard the Deathstar. It is its own white noise machine. What do these buttons do? Oh, they're alarms. Oops. Hey, wait, that's the tactical nuke sound. You can't sneak that one by me. I think this alarm's my favorite, though. Whoa, look at the size of this place. And all the details on the wall, too. As someone who has gotten their hands dirty making maps in the Source engine, this is complete sorcery to me. I just know getting this thing to compile was a nightmare. I mean, look, you could fit a dozen Lambda-class shuttles in this hangar alone. It looks like there's a maintenance bay or something beneath us, too. And no handrails. But knowing how the Empire treats their staff, really not such a big surprise. I don't know what this big shiny shaft is for, but it looks nice. Wow, I don't know why I said that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. If I were a coward, I would just edit that out and save myself the embarrassment, but I've said way worse shit during my live streams, so I think I can live with it. Anyway, I took the elevator down to the lowest level. What's this thing? Access to the trash compactor? Why is it so dirty? Better not let old Sheev Palpatine see this corner of the station or he's gonna throw a fit. Oh, here are the controls. Hold on, I gotta know. Oh, that was awesome. Man, I feel like I need a death stick after that. Also, I love that they added the growls and grumbles in the trash compactor to simulate the freaky monster that assailed the cast here in A New Hope. How'd that thing even get here in the first place? Knowing Star Wars, there's probably a lengthy Wikipedia page on this monster containing its entire tragic backstory, along with the names of several of its extended family members. Yeah. Oh, this is the maintenance bay we saw from above a minute ago. There are no TIE fighters, though. With this being a roleplay map, they've left them out so the players can add real ones in themselves. There's also this extra room in the back here. It looks like a sparring area, or maybe an assembly hall. I can definitely picture the maintenance crew getting together in this secluded room for bingo on Friday nights. I mean, you gotta have something to do, right? One thing I really dig about Star Wars that not a lot of other franchises do is that sometimes it goes out of its way to show recreation and hobbies in the universe, both in the background and in your face. You've got that chess game they played on board the Millennium Falcon, there's the pod races, of course, TV, and all sorts of esoteric sport games that get played. For a franchise mostly about conflict and battle, they've managed to cram a lot of world building in over the decades of shows, movies, games, and books. Hey, I know this area. I used to camp the ever-loving shit out of this hallway in original Battlefront 2 with the sniper rifle. Good times. Look at all these working jail cells you would get thrown in for fail RP. Man. I understand that these roleplay maps are made specifically for RP servers, but to me they are so much more enjoyable without having to listen to an attention-starved 14-year-old having power over people for the first time in their life. Well, I would assume that's mostly just true for public servers. Maybe there's private RP communities that are better. Check this out. There's also a working interrogation chamber off to the side here. If you're sitting in it when it's active, you do get burned. It probably works better on people with butt cheeks. And speaking of butt cheeks, check out the cafeteria. Are these not some of the most uncomfortable seats you've seen in your life? I'm getting sore just looking at them. Maybe this cafeteria only serves on-duty stormtroopers on their meal breaks, and since they're wearing armor, it's okay. That's the only rationale I can think of for having angular metal benches here. There's a bar next door, too. Even though the seating isn't any better, I would bet that this is where most troopers come to spend their hard-earned credits. There's a whole target range back here. The targets are made to look like rebels. Take that, rebel scum, or whatever. In a cool detail, there are displays at the top of each booth that show you which part of the target you hit last. Damn, the amount of interactable objects on this map is crazy. I don't think I've seen an RP map with this many built-in gameplay features. Check this out. In the infirmary across the hall, there are Bacta tanks that you can actually climb into and heal yourself with. And that's just the latest. I'm sure we'll find many more interactable items before we're done. Look at this room, it's like the New York City of pipes. They sound like steam pipes, so this is either plumbing or we're looking at some chamber relating to that big green laser they used to blow planets up. Oh, do you think we can actually fire it? Oh, that would just be the cherry on top. We'll see, though. We'll see. Hey, what are these little pod thingies? I keep seeing them around this map, and I feel like I've seen them in the movies, too. Are they part of a pneumatic tube system for transporting bulky items around the station? Any Deathstar lore masters want to chime in on that? I recognize this room. Better watch your step. Still no guardrails, by the way. It makes me wonder how many stormtroopers and officers end up as red stains down in the lower levels. Or hell, maybe if this shaft goes around the circumference of the Death Star, they just orbit inside of it until they slam into something. They probably have an entire corpse cleanup dispatch crew on call 24/7 for just such an occasion. That would make such a good Viscera cleanup detail level. My first thought was to say that Disney would never allow that, but I mean, Andor was pretty fucked up. Contrary to what alarmist Twitter accounts were predicting back when they acquired LucasArts in 2012, Disney's treatment of the franchise hasn't been as bad as it could have been. I mean, yeah, there's gonna be stinkers, but there's gonna be stinkers no matter who owns the franchise. Now there's lots of Star Wars media to consume. It's a great time to be a fan. It's actually such an excess that I think there's too much to keep up with now. You kinda have to pick and choose what you decide to watch. Hey, I found the laser! There's been a few Star Wars games where you stand out in the accelerator like this, but it always bothered me a little bit. I don't know. I feel like with a laser that can vaporize entire celestial bodies, there would still be lots of residual radiation around here even when it isn't firing. And, much to my joy, you can fire it. It's actually pretty clever. You have to press a 3-button sequence with fairly precise timing or else the system will abort. You can do it by yourself if you're fast enough, but I'd imagine that it's like this to encourage having a group of 2 or 3 people operating it, like in the movies. It's very cool. I've always had trouble making sense of the Death Star's super laser in my mind, though. Artificial gravity, sure, I can accept that as science fiction. But if the thing can shoot a laser so immensely powerful that it blasts entire planets to smithereens in just a few seconds, wouldn't the recoil of it send the whole thing tumbling backwards through space? It's got its own gravity, sure, but I would expect the reactionary force of the laser to overpower that easily. I guess there could be thrusters, but I mean, there would have to be a lot of huge ones to allow the Death Star to stay completely stationary like it does in the movies, right? Ah, so this is where the plastic boys get their shut-eye. Alright, these are better than I thought. Really though, the Death Star is massive. You would think that with its immense size, the Empire could afford to give its staff their own apartments to sleep in, but I guess not. You gotta have those big empty rooms. Oh, I know this place. This is Darth Vader's, this is where he moisturizes, right? Who am I kidding? That guy doesn't moisturize. He looks like a big toe when you finally get a good look at him. This is an extremely accurate replica, though. Honestly, pretty much everything I've seen in this map that's featured in the original movies has been dead-on accurate. Wow, look, you can even make it open and shut while you're sitting in it. You know what, Vader? It's not so bad in here. This seating arrangement looks far more comfortable than anything the Stormtroopers have. I can totally see him lounging in here doom-scrolling the HoloNet for a few hours while his self-hatred eats him alive. I bet there's mood lighting options too, that he installed himself and keeps hidden from the Emperor. Just a hop, skip, and a forced jump, and we're at the throne room. It must be real weird to be roommates with the guy that made you kill your wife. As evil as the Emperor and his legions are, they definitely have the cooler looking shit. I mean, the rebels have cold caves and moldy ruins. They don't have neat looking armor. They don't have starfighters shaped like bow tie pasta. And they don't have this. They don't have an ocular window facing the cosmos itself. This is dope. Do you think any Star Wars nerds have reenacted the final duel and Darth Vader's redemption on this map? Shit, dude, if I had friends that were as into Star Wars as I am, I might have done that my damn self. I do have a pretty good Emperor voice. This looks like the main control room. What do we have here? Is this a galactic map? And it's functional. What? Are you serious? Wow. I mean, it's janky, but it works. I don't think I've ever seen a Gmod map do something like this before. Look at that, we're at another planet now. Let me see if I can blow it up. Ooh! Boiling bantha piss, it works! I can't believe it works! The amount of detail here is astounding. Look, if you go outside, it's just a cloud of dust now. You know what's baffling to me? This right here is a better Deathstar than most official Star Wars games have. How many of them let you actually move the Deathstar around and use the super laser? I mean, honestly. This is, without a doubt in my mind, one of the most impressive maps we've looked at on Where Are We Now. Jacob obviously knows what the hell they're doing. And I don't just mean from a you can do a lot of stuff perspective. That's impressive in its own right, but there are so many rooms and details here that I'm at a loss as to how the dev managed to squeeze all this stuff into a single map file. And it runs at a good frame rate too. You just know that it is absolutely stretching the very limits of what the Source engine is even capable of handling. I bet if you even tried to add one cube to the map, the whole thing would fall apart at the seams. I can't get enough of things like this that are technical marvels but are extremely volatile and unstable just beneath the surface of the code. The workshop page for this map says that it took a year to make, and wow, you can see that in every corner, in every little detail. Really, really astounding stuff here, Jacob. I'm impressed. I really am. And hey, just throwing it out there, if there's any project managers watching and you're looking for a software guy to bring onto your project, Jacob is available for hire. I think, anyways. You can read about his work on his website. I feel like I should also mention Lord Trilobite, Oni Noni, and Spartan Myth, as they also made valuable contributions to this generational Gmod map. I hope this motley crew of Source modders can rest easy knowing they've created one of the finest Deathstar creations available in gaming. Well, that's all the megastructures I could find for this video, so I think that's it. As humans, we're all pretty used to stuff being much, much bigger than us. Redwoods, mountains, the Grand Canyon, and we're way more aware of it than any other living thing in the world. It's when stuff that we build ourselves ends up dwarfing us that it gets really bizarre. I'm thinking about Egypt's pyramids or those hellish apartment complexes you see in Russia. Can you imagine if you could go back in time and show a skyscraper to George Washington? You'd have a mentee bee. And when you take this concept of artificial bigness and allow it to multiply considerably in the vast plains of fiction, you get the stuff that we looked at in this video. The iterators from Rainworld release so much water as a byproduct of their operation that they cause torrential downpours that kill off any wildlife left out of shelter at the time. The brutalist Beksinski-inspired labyrinth was so sprawling and mysterious that even the most powerful alien empire in the galaxy couldn't colonize it. And the Death Star, I mean, it's called the goddamn Death Star. Even if it was called the Death Moon, it would have gotten its point across. I think what draws me to the concept of megastructures personally is the simple reality that the bigger something is, the more of it there is to explore. That's not always a good thing. I mean, Starfield exists, but these Garry's Mod maps that we looked at here today did not disappoint in the slightest. Be sure to check them all out for yourselves using the links in the description. Or hey, maybe even leave some words of encouragement for the devs. We all know they deserve it. And that is it for episode 20 of Where Are We Now? This was a fun one. If you know of any other good megastructure maps that I haven't covered yet, let me know and maybe we'll do this theme again sometime. As always, finger guns to all my patrons, who are all at least as cool as I am. At least. Thanks, gang. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to always rinse your rice. I'm serious, not rinsing rice is nasty. Alright, see ya.